The anime begins with a deep and emotional desire. A boy thinks to himself that he wants a talent. He doesn't care what kind of talent it is, he just wants one. He feels empty and believes that without talent he is nothing. So he makes a desperate wish to become somebody, no matter the cost. Then we see the title appear, and the world introduces a mysterious concept called petals of reincarnation. Then we see a group of students talking casually in school. Some of them mention that they saw a petal recently near a convenience store. Another student says he saw something similar too, but others don't believe it and think it's just rumors spreading on social media. Then the conversation shifts. They start talking about something interesting. If they could inherit the talent of a great figure from the past, who would they choose? One student says he would choose a powerful historical figure because of strength. Another jokingly mentions someone famous just to be close to their idol. Someone brings up the idea that these rumors might be connected to something dangerous, maybe even a serial killer. But before the discussion goes further, the teacher interrupts. Then we see a new moment. The teacher announces a transfer student. The classroom becomes quiet as the new student walks in. Her name is Hato Luo Buffett, but her attitude feels cold and distant. As soon as she enters, she immediately calls out another student, Toya Senji. Toya is confused. He doesn't understand how this new student already knows his name. Then we see Hato observing him closely. Then after the school, Hato follows Toya and stops him. She points out Toya's tired eyes, dark circles, and stressed expression, as if he can read him completely. This makes Toya uncomfortable. Then we see Toya quickly leaving, saying he has to go to cram school, but something feels off. Then the scene suddenly shifts. We see a dark and disturbing situation. A terrified woman is begging for her life. Then we see the horror. The victim screams for help, but no one is there to save her. Then that maid person kills her. Then we return to Toya. He is checking his exam results, and they are not good. Then we see his frustration. He repeats his wish again. He needs a talent. Without it, he feels like he has no value. He becomes more desperate, saying that he would do anything to obtain one. Here we see two police officers are investigating a report of a scream nearby. They are unsure if it was real or just a misunderstanding. Then suddenly, we see the officer encountering something shocking. A strange man appears. At first he seems unstable, but then we realize something is very wrong. He talks about being mocked despite having immense talent. The officer is shocked to see him in this condition. Here we see Toya. He feels a strange smell in the air. Then he sees that the man had killed the officer. The man smiles in a twisted way and says he feels blessed. Then someone asks a chilling question from behind. Are you envious? Here we see that she is Hato. She comes and says that when people encounter true talent, they feel three emotions: admiration, fear, and jealousy. And those who fall too deep into jealousy lose themselves. Then we see Toya realizing something. This man is not normal. Then suddenly, Toyato comes close, and she calls the attacker fish and speaks calmly, as if she already understands everything. Then we see that the man goes to attack them, but Hayato saves Toya and hides there. Then we see a shocking reveal. Hayato mentions someone named Newman, and then we understand something huge. This is connected to a real historical genius, John von Neumann. Then we see something shocking. She gives her phone to Toya and takes a knife from her bag and directly cuts on her neck. Then we see her real powers in action. Then she used her skill called prediction calculation, showing her incredible intelligence and foresight. The attacker is instantly outmatched. Seeing this, Toya is shocked and completely confused. Then the same voice of Neumann reveals something shocking. Then she explains the concept clearly. Even if someone is useless in their current life, if they had talent in a past life, they can reclaim it. This changes everything. Then she asks Toya a direct question. If such a power existed, what would you do? Then we see the truth. Nauman explained that Hato is using her power is called a branch of reincarnation. It allows people to access talents from their past lives. Then we see the explanation clearly. Through something called the branch of reincarnation, people can trace back to their past lives and borrow their talents. Those who succeed are called returners, and the petals that appear around them are proof that their talent has awakened. Then Nauman explained that every human dies eventually, but only through death can reincarnation happen, and only through reincarnation can these talents return to the living world. Some of these talents come from heroes and geniuses, people who pushed humanity forward. But then we see the darker side. Not all past lives were good. Some were criminals, murderers, even monsters, and their talents can also awaken. Then we see the example. The man Hato is fighting with is one of them, someone whose talent brings destruction instead of hope. Then Nauman explains something more shocking. There is a risk. Using the branch of reincarnation is not safe. You might gain power, or you might die without gaining anything at all. Then Nauman asks Toya directly, even knowing all this, does he still want a talent? Then we see Toya hesitate. This is not just a wish anymore, it is a life or death decision. Here the battle continues between that evil man and Hato. We see Hato using her powerful sword technique, Ibitsu Naiten Reihu. The fight is intense. The enemy mocks the attack, saying the blade is dull. But then the truth is revealed. The technique is not simple, it hides something deeper. Then we see the attacker realize too late that he has been outplayed. The fight ends. Then we shift back to Tuya. But he is gone. He left quietly. Then we see Hato confirming Nauman that the mission is completed. Then we see Toya wakes up and Hato sitting behind him. She says that Toya has successfully completed the reincarnation return. But Toya looks confused and shaken. Then we see Toya and Hato sitting outside on a bench. He is telling Hato that he had an older brother, someone who was good at everything, studies, sports, art, a true genius. Toya's life in comparison, no matter how hard he tried, he was always second or worse. But no matter what he did, he couldn't reach his brother. Then a worse thing happened. Toya tells her that his brother suddenly became sick and died. But instead of sympathy, Toya was blamed. Then we see the cruel reality. Whether it was truth or just an excuse to protect the family's reputation, Toya was kicked out from home. Then we see his true feelings finally come out. He admits that he just wants talent to become someone. He wanted revenge against the people who looked down on him, against the family that abandoned him, but most importantly against himself for being weak. Then we see Hato listening quietly. He begins listing everything he has ever learned: violin, piano, flute, painting, sports, martial arts, one after another. It sounds impressive at first, but then we see the reality. He says that despite learning all of these things, he has no real talent in any of them. Hato responds calmly. She says they are very much alike. This confuses Tuya. Then we see they goes to Nauman. Nauman has been waiting for Toya. Then Toya realizes something shocking. Kaito is connected to Nauman, the genius level mind from before. Then we see a new reveal. Nauman explains that the others are not here because they are out eliminating dangerous returners. Then we hear the name of their organization. The Forest of the Greats. The branch of reincarnation cannot control what kind of talent someone awakens. Some people gain talents that help humanity, but others awaken dangerous abilities from evil past lives, and those people must be stopped immediately. That is their mission. Then we see Nauman speaking seriously. She reminds Toya of something important. The talent gained through reincarnation return is a gift. It should not be used for selfish reasons. It must be used to protect humanity. Then we see Toya being given his first mission. He will work together with Hato. Their target is a dangerous returner, Vlad III. Then we see something confusing. Nauman says not to kill him, but also not to let him live. Hato says mission itself feels morally unclear. Then Nauman explains the plan. Hato will distract the enemy and fight for 10 minutes. After that the fight must end quickly, because if the battle drags on too long, their abilities may be exposed. Then we see Toya being given a key role. He must observe and send information about the enemy and surroundings to the Nauman. Then Nauman says something unexpected. We take action in 2 days because there is something she needs to do first. Then we see Toya alone. He repeats the words Forest of the Greats, thinking deeply about what it means. Then suddenly we see a robbery happening on the street. A thief runs away and women shout for help. Then we see Toyo step forward. Then we see him analyzing the situation. Then we see the Nauman tells him the lighting is dim and there is wind, so one can see there is perfect conditions for petals to move. Then we see he activates his power. Talent, right arm of thievery. Then we see the result. The thief suddenly collapses. Then we see Toya retrieving the stolen item inside the bag and returning it. The woman thanks him, but surprisingly she cares more about her expensive bag than what was inside. Then we see Nauman explains that Toya's ability allows him to steal anything within a range of 70 centimeters. Not just objects, even something like blood. Then we see the impact. By stealing blood, he caused the thief to become weak instantly. Nauman says that stopping evil is the correct use of talent. In the next scene we shift to the enemy. A dark and powerful presence appears. The name is revealed, Vlad III. Then we see his confidence. He says that only one person has been sent to deal with him, and says he is being underestimated. The battle has not even begun yet, but the danger is already clear. Because this enemy is not just another returner. He is someone powerful enough to challenge the Forest of the Greats themselves. In the middle of a brutal fight, Hato finds herself completely overwhelmed. Even while using her powerful sword technique, Ibitsu Naiten Reiho, she can barely keep up as deadly attacks rain down on her from all directions. Needles fly endlessly through the air, forcing him to stay on the defensive, unable to land a single proper hit. Meanwhile, Nauman analyzing every movement. She knows rushing in would only make things worse. The enemy had clearly been waiting for them, and one wrong move could turn the situation into a complete disaster. But the longer the fight drags on, the worse it becomes. Heto, who enjoys battle by nature, begins to lose patience. Instead of staying cautious, she pushes forward, and that's exactly what the enemy was waiting for. The moment Heto attacks recklessly, everything collapses. Their operation fails instantly. The enemy starts celebrating his victory. But at that time Toya uses his talent and steal enemy's talent and says, 10 minutes are up, so I did it. Before the enemy turns the tables, trapping them, and moving in for the kill. Heto is moments away from death as the enemy prepares to finish him off. But just as everything seems lost, a mysterious voice interrupts. The attacker suddenly stops. Without hesitation, he obeys the command and retreats, leaving both Toya and Heto alive. The mission ends abruptly. In the next scene, Toya is standing Vlad III. Come and ask, give my talent back to me. But Toya turn a phone and ask him, you tell anyone about this. The enemy says no, how I let anyone know about such a disgrace. Toya says that's good. In the next moment, Toya activates his ability. With a single move he steals Vlad's power completely, his terrifying ability known as Lord Impaler. Vlad is left powerless and helpless. Toya doesn't hesitate, he eliminates him without mercy. Standing there surrounded by silence, Toya finally reveals what he truly wants. He doesn't care about justice, he doesn't care about protecting humanity. All he wants is talent, no matter where it comes from. Whether it belongs to a legendary hero or a ruthless killer, he will take it, again and again, until there is nothing left to steal. Until he becomes the most talented person in all of history, because for Toya, this isn't just about power, proving that he has finally surpassed his perfect brother. And as he looks forward with a chilling smile, one thing becomes clear. This story isn't about greats or sinners. The most dangerous person of all is Toya himself. In the next scene we see Toya wakes up. Nauman says you woke up before the alarm went off. Also says you gained talent. Then we see Toya getting ready and asks about today's mission. Nauman says today's mission is to eliminating an evil returner. However, before starting the mission, I want you to stop by another place first. Then we see Toya arrive at a location where Heto is sleeping. Nauman says to Heto to wake up and get ready. We have a mission. Then we see them in a forest and Nauman explain their target's talent. The target talent is known as Gacy, also called the Killer Clown. This person approaches children while dressed as a clown and then kills them. Because of this, he is extremely dangerous and unpredictable. Nauman warned them to stay alert. Because they enter the hideout of this killer, the tension becomes very high. Nauman says when the signal is given, they will split on both sides. The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1. Suddenly, the killer appears and welcomes them in a creepy way. He calls this place his murder circus, showing that he enjoys what he does. He laughs in a disturbing manner, making the situation even more intense. The killer used strong in close combat, so getting too close is dangerous. The killer says if as long as I don't let you get close, it's no problem. The fight begins and with a single attack, Heto finish him. Nauman becomes angry, because the plan was to let Toya gain experience. Heto apologizes, saying it just felt like she could do it. Then Nauman says fine, retrieve branch. Then we see cops saying Chang the plan. The target has changed from Gacy to 2 newcomers. In the next scene we see a man running through the street. His name is Edward T. Gain. Heto is also behind him. Then we see some apple falling. One apple have gravity effect, because of which the target slows down, but he barely avoid attack and manages to escape. Then we see 2 new characters. One is Newton, his talent is fruit of gravity, and the other is Einstein, her talent is space transfer. Then we see something shocking. She appear behind the target and cut his right hand. This Newton says, why didn't you just teleport his head? Einstein says, delivering the final blow is a soldier's duty. The soldier asks him to surrender, but the enemy moves sharply and cut the soldier's neck. He proudly says they completely destroyed the target, but suddenly ask him to surrender. We learn that the soldier is still alive. He shuts the enemy. The soldier is also a return. His name is Hiroshi. His talent is Immortal Soldier. He says now it's my turn. I experienced use talent firsthand. Then we see another new character. His name is Dreesh, and his talent is Replicator. He says you can't escape because the whole area is packed. He even says that if you want to fight, you can try, but you will only be able to defeat a few of them. Then we see all the returns at the same location. These belong to the same team, the Forest of the Greats. Then we see the enemy is finished. Then we see Nauman says everything went according to plan. She thanks the team for their efforts. Then we see the team returning with what they collected. They hand over the recovered item, completing the mission. Then we see a new character. Her name is Nightingale. Her talent is Angel of Healing. She start healing injured person. She kisses him and he start heal. She tells the injured boy not to push himself too hard just because he wants to prove something. Seeing this, Newton also wished to injured, but he immediately changed the topic. Say let's to take care of the witnesses. Then we see Toya is working quietly. Haito comes and says you can come with us, and says what are you doing? Toya says is arranging displays and fixing wires. Haito says even after gaining a powerful talent, he say I enjoys doing small and careful work. Then we see Nauman mention that people like Toya are rare in this group. Most of them are not patient or detail-oriented like him, so his presence feels different. Then we see Toya being introduced properly to the team. Nauman has already told others about him, and Newton welcomed him warmly. He say he is happy to have a new friend. Toya says, I look forward to work with you. Nauman says that not everyone in the group is present yet. Haito says all members are similar in one way. They all chose to change themselves and gain special talents. They wanted to become someone different, someone special. Then Newton tells him that if he ever needs help, he can ask. Toya thanks him. But then the mood suddenly changes. Inez strongly disagrees. She says she cannot accept Toya as a teammate. Her reason is harsh. She says his talent does not come from a great or heroic figure. Instead, it comes from someone closer to a criminal. Then we see that Nauman try to calm the situation. She explained that gaining a talent does not mean becoming the exact same person from the past. It is only an ability, not the whole identity. They also say that society might judge them, but that does not define who they are now. Then we see Haito step in. She asks everyone to give Toya a chance, since she personally recommended him. Slowly, Ain agrees. Then we see Toya and Haito outside. Haito says, don't you feel frustrated? Even though he stays quiet, Haito says he worked hard to gain his talent. But instead of praise, he receives doubt and criticism. She thinks that if it were her, she wouldn't be able to stay silent after being judged like that. Toya suddenly noticed that his room's lights are on. They goes to check who is that. When they open the door, we see a man sitting there. His name is Oituki Kitazuka. He jokes around, even bringing random items like adult magazines as gift. Then we see that Toya recognizes him. They already know each other, which surprises the Haito. Then Haito introduces herself in a relaxed way. Then Toya tells about him. He used to be a martial arts genius, known alongside Toya's older brother. Now he leads a special forces unit in the military. Then we see Itsuki joking about himself, saying he is basically a winner in life. He talks casually, but it is clear that he has both talent and achievements. Then Itsuki says he heard that Toya has not been going to school or attending his usual activities. He came because he was worried, but then he jokes again, saying he thought Toya was just distracted because he got a girlfriend. This creates an awkward but lighter moment. Both of them says at the same time, no. Then we see more about Toya's past. Itsuki talks about Toya's older brother, Seiya. He shows an old photo of them together. Seiya was someone Toya always looked up to. Then we see something emotional. Toya always chased after his brother, trying to reach his level. Seiya never turned back, but he also never left Toya behind. He says Seiya was always busy and surrounded by opportunities because of his talent. It was almost like fate. Having talent meant always being pulled in many directions. Toya says that he also has talent now. Then we see Itsuki notice something strange about Toya's body. He asks what happened to him. Toya explains that he recently gained a new ability, the power to steal talents. He even says it fits his twisted personality. Then we see Itsuki react strongly. He says this must be that strange rumor going around, people taking talents from their past lives. But instead of being impressed, he looks down on it. He calls it meaningless. He says relying on past lives means you are weak in your current life. He calls it the mindset of a loser, someone who cannot succeed on their own. Haito suddenly gets angry. She tells Itsuki to take those words back. This is the first time we see Haito truly lose her calm. Then we see Haito speak with emotion. She says Itsuki has no idea what they went through. He doesn't understand their pain, their struggles, or the sacrifices they made to gain this power. She says people who were born talented have no right to look down on them. Then we see Itsuki stay firm. He says no matter what you says, it still sounds like excuses from the weak. Then suddenly, Haito attacks, but Itsuki easily stops her. He shows his overwhelming strength without even trying. Then we see Itsuki warn her. He says if he wasn't connected to Toya, he would have already broken her arms and legs. Then he leaves, disappointed. He says Toya's older brother, Shawa, would be sad if he saw him like this. Even after all that, Toya says he does not regret his choice. He promises that he will surpass his brother using this power. Then we see that Itsuki as a commander gives orders. He decides not to capture the target yet, but to let them move freely so they can track them better. This shows that a bigger plan is still in motion. In the next scene, a strange man appears, acting playful and mysterious. He talks about someone like he is a valuable sample. Then we see Haito begins talking to Toya. She says she was not born with talent either. Before gaining her ability, she was just an ordinary girl. Hato says she was actually an abandoned child. She grew up in an orphanage. Because she looked different with different hair and eyes, she became an easy target. Other children bullied her, and the staff ignored it. She cried every day. She wanted to prove herself. She wanted to show everyone that she was not weak. Then one day, everything changed. A man from a nearby dojo found her. He saw something in her. He took her in. Even though others were against it, he decided to train her himself. The man became like a father to her. He taught her swordsmanship with great passion. He believed in her and pushed her to grow stronger. She wanted to become a great swordsman and repay him. She wanted to prove that his faith in her was not wrong. But no matter how hard she trained, she could not become strong enough. Then we see her desperation. She wanted talent more than anything. Then one day, how hard she trained, she could not become strong enough. She heard about something called the branch of reincarnation, an object that could give people talents from their past lives. She searched everywhere for it. She believed that if she gained talent, everything would be fixed. Then we see the tragedy. When she finally gained the talent of a legendary swordsman, she lost control. That power was too strong. She ended up seriously injuring the man who saved her, the one she called father. Even though he survived, his body was destroyed. He could never hold a sword again. The dojo was shut down and she is expelled. She says she will return only after becoming as strong as Musashi, the legendary swordsman. Only then will she face her father again and reopen the dojo. Until that day, she refuses to go back. She says that's why she wants to become a complete returner as soon as possible. Toya is shocked and says complete returner. Then the scene shifts. We see Itsuki again. He looks serious this time. He says he didn't even want to meet Toya, even though Toya is like a younger brother to his close friend. Another person tells him that feeling this way is normal. Even strong people have emotions they cannot ignore. They start talking about recent events. Everything that has been happening seems to match someone's predictions perfectly. Then the scene shifts. Hato says you didn't know about complete returner. He says no. Then Namant explained that in the Forest of the Greats, almost everyone has already become a complete returner, except for Toya and Hato. Then she says, do you know what they have in common? He says they look strange. Some look unnatural, like having unusual shapes, horns, or odd features. Nauman says we certainly don't look human. In that case, why did their strange appearance catch your eye? There is a time limit to their transformation. After some time they return to their normal form. But if they keep repeating the process, they can remove this limit and stay in that powerful form permanently. Those who reach this stage are called complete returner, and they are respected enough to be called by the names of their past lives. Then we see that Hato is already being called Musashi. But Hato is not satisfied yet. She says she wants to reach that level completely, so she can stand proudly in front of her father without hiding anything. In the next scene, Toya shows his new ability to Hato. This proves that he can not only steal abilities, but also use them in powerful ways. Hato is impressed. She tells him this is an amazing talent and fully supports him. She even says something shocking. If she were in his place, she would also steal as many talents as possible. Toya admits something dark. He says that for the sake of gaining more talent, he might even attack his own teammates one day. But Hato does not reject it. Instead, she says that is normal. She believes that in a world full of valuable talents, people will naturally want to take them. He says he did not show his power because he wanted to be stopped. He showed it because he trusted Herod and wanted to be honest with her. Herod smiles and says she is happy he trusted her. But then she suddenly says something unexpected. She asks why Toya didn't try to steal her talent first. She says if he truly wanted power, he should not care about relationships. She says she will grow stronger and improve her talent until it becomes something Toya would want to steal. She wants to become that valuable. Then Toya responds. He says he will also gather stronger talents so he won't fall behind. They make a strong promise to each other. With this episode ends.